I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Kushner,
Here.
Osborne,
Here.
Latari. Here. Jones. Here. Euler.
Here. Approval of city council minutes. Motion to approve regular minutes dated February 24th, 2025.
I so move to approve.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Adoption of agenda. Move to approve.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have two proclamations this evening. Very glad to do this. Proclamation for Women's History Month, Proclamation 2025. And council persons Jan and Susie, which join with me. Thanks, Austin. You stand right. Women's History Month, March 2025 proclamation. Whereas by congressional resolution adopted in 1987 and successive years since then, the President of the United States has proclaimed the month of March as Women's History Month. And whereas the National Women's History Alliance has designated the theme for 2025 as Moving Forward Together, Women Educating and Inspiring Generations. And whereas American women of every race, class, ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation and served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. And whereas American people were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions. And whereas American women have served and continue to serve our country courageously in the military. And whereas American women play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every aspect of life by consulting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. Now, therefore, I, Bruce D. Euler, Mayor of the City Council of Warrensburg, Missouri, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2025 as Women's History Month. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand this 10th day of March 2025. Yes. Thanks. Thank you. All right. That's right there. Another proclamation, National Development Disabilities Awareness Month. Whereas established in 1987 by presidential proclamation, March is National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, highlighting the importance of fostering a society where people with disabilities are empowered to contribute to their communities. And whereas the National Association of the Council on Development and Disabilities, NACDD, has designated the theme for 2025 as We're Here All Year, emphasizing that community, accessibility, and opportunities for people with developmental disabilities should be recognized and championed every day, not just in March. And whereas new opportunities have been created throughout the efforts of those with developmental disabilities and their family members, along with professionals and officials at all levels of government. Working together, they have brought about significant changes in the public perception of young people and adults with developmental disabilities, opening new doors to independent and productive lives. And whereas it is intended to urge those in our community to seek opportunities, to embrace the richness of America's diversity by considering the talents and efforts of all members of the community with different abilities. Now, therefore, I, Bruce D. Euler, along with the City Council of the City of Warrensburg, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2025 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand this 10th day of March 2025.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Item 6.1, a resolution adopting the 2025-2027 Johnson County Emergency Operation Plan presented by Kenneth D. Jennings, CFO, Fire Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Believe it or not, it's time to adopt the LEOP again. Seems like we just did it, but this plan is reviewed every 2 years. And then we bring it back to you for adoption. We're required by statute to have an EOP in place. We worked with Johnson County Emergency Management just to build one comprehensive plan for the whole county instead of having our own. So we are involved in the development of this plan. We started like last fall, provided a lot of feedback, made a lot of changes in getting that updated. So it looks a lot better, the plan itself, than it did the time before. We had a lot of amendments that we added last time. So that has been reduced down to just our succession plan that's specific to the city. Everything looks pretty good, and I think it's ready to go for 2 years. So I would highly recommend the passing of this resolution. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
So I admit that I did not read every word of this.
Oh, good. I'm not involved.
Yeah, but I did skim it more than just briefly. And just, very impressed at the extraordinary amount of work that went in to this by many, many agencies. I had the opportunity to participate in a couple of EOC Emergency Operations Center, what are they called, exercises at UCM. And it was really fascinating and interesting to see how well some people work together and how challenging it was, even in a training exercise for some people to communicate well with each other. So I'm just wondering, is there a training exercise planned for the county at some point? And would the city or would any of us have any role in that? Or would that really just be staff and emergency responders who would participate?
I don't have anything on the schedule right now. The Johnson County EMA is working on a couple exercises this year. We are slated to look at some internal exercises, tabletops. The big one being what do we have to do if we have to relocate from City Hall to carry on business? So that's kind of our first piece that we're looking at. But I don't have those dates scheduled yet. There would be opportunities for your participation in it, especially just kind of being aware of what council's role is in that operation, especially the mayor and a lot of those decisions.
I know, a lot of responsibility for the mayor in this, buddy. You better be reading it.
So as we get those developed and those dates set, we'd be happy to share those opportunities with you.
Okay, yeah, those are great. And I should know this, and I apologize, I'm embarrassed, I don't know, but who is the current Johnson County Emergency Management Director?
Darren Tobias.
It's Darren, okay, all right. And then who is our Public Information Officer for Warrensburg in the case of an event?
So primarily for the city, it's Jessica. And then depending on the department, especially for law and fire, we have PIOs kind of coordinating that information. So in the event of a large incident, we would actually put all of the PIOs together to help sort through information.
Yeah.
So during COVID, one thing that came from it was a countywide PIO group, and they managed that incident. It kind of died off after that settled down. They just recently got it started again. So that involves all agencies across the county and the university and that group together. Yeah. And just one example of that being used, the line of duty that the fire district's working right now, pieces of that group have come together to help manage all of those resources. So that piece is there. Jessica's been active in that group, kind of getting up to speed on everything. So a very big, important piece is the communication.
Yeah.
So that's something that we continue to develop.
Yeah, thank you. And then are there any recommendations you would make to what citizens can do to be better prepared for an emergency? I know I read in the legend, I am blanking on the name of it, the program that folks can register in case they have any kind of special needs at home, like an oxygen tank or anything else that responders need to know about. Anything else you'd recommend that citizens do to be
Yeah,
better
so,
prepared?
yeah, the fire department, the community connect piece is a way to communicate, crowdsource information to the fire department. Emergency management has a platform called Regroup, which is a good way to receive mass notifications. So that would be a good one to sign in. And then between our pages, website, there's information on our website for emergency planning. Johnson County EMA has that, and also FEMA had documents on there, depending on what availability of those records are. But those would be the general direction we would give people to have that home preparedness piece.
Okay, great. Thank you. Again, thank you for all the work.
Any other questions? And if you would pass our condolences to the family of Vern Collett, tragic events last week, and
Will do.
yeah, thanks. Thank you. We have a resolution before us.
Motion to approve.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 6.2, a resolution to demonstrate the city of Warrensburg commitment to public safety and crime prevention presented by Police Chief Andrew Munsterman.
Mayor, council, you mind if I approach the bench?
Please do.
Handouts for you. This is the,
Adam, does he have to do that?
this is a press release from the governor. Kehoe. They put that out shortly after, I believe I put it on the agenda.
If I can't trust you coming up here.
You're in charge of the meeting.
Thank you.
Just kind of explain more in detail. So we have a resolution just demonstrating our commitment to public safety and crime reduction. Warrensburg Police Department's always been committed to crime reduction and public safety. We'll continue to do that. This is a resolution that follows the governor's recommendation. If we're gonna have access to $10 million that they're putting in with grants for law enforcement, we have to get this resolution and be recognized by the council and the public that we're gonna be committed to following some of these rules that they're putting into place. There's a lot to it, it appears, but I believe they're developing it kind of as they're going as well. Once we get this resolution done, we're gonna start submitting some of the paperwork that they're requiring that we submit to them, like our budget and stuff like that, so. We recommend that we pass the resolution so we can have access and possibly be able to get some of that money for helping fund some of our needs. So, do you have any questions for me?
Any questions? No, thanks, Chief.
Move to pass said resolution.
Thank you.
You hear that?
Mhm. Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 7, appearances to the council not listed on the agenda. Thanks, Phil. We just have to get the list up here. Come on up. Thank you. If you would just tell us your name, your address, and
My name is Stephanie Evans. My address is 1305 Cheatham Court. Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for hearing me tonight. I do have 2 separate issues that I would like to talk about. That's why I put my name twice on there.
right.
I do want to start off by disclosing I am an employee for Republic Services, but I do want to say I am not here in any way, shape, or form to represent Public Services. I am here as a citizen and a resident of Warrensburg, Missouri, and of Johnson County. So the first thing I would like to discuss is possibly a waiver for employees for Republic Services, JNS, or other local trash services. We get free trash as a benefit for working with Republic. And sometimes that's not well known, sometimes that is. So for me, this is putting an extra $372 a year for the first year, not including any rate increases. On not only me, but we have at least 12 other employees that live within city limits just in Republic, and that's not including JNS or any other local trash services. And so this, I know there's been waivers for fourplexes or HOAs. Obviously, I'm not saying hand out a waiver willy-nilly. Obviously, provide proper documentation, be it a pay stub or some kind of a form, written letterhead, something stating that we do work for that company. And then if we have to provide like a yearly thing or a 6-month thing to keep providing that, we are still doing that. Just because that is a benefit that I believe that we should be able to utilize. I know a lot of companies offer benefits like that. An eye doctor may offer their employees free eye exams. A dentist may offer free dental exams. I feel like that's something that we should be able to utilize ourselves. So that was my first thing. So my second thing, and this is kind of something I'm passionate about. I've been living in Johnson County since 2008, and I lived in the county for 12 years before moving inside city limits. And did you know that for every ton of trash that goes into our local landfill, that the landfill actually pays the county so much money? And on an average, they collect around 350 to 400 ton per day. And that's between 176,400,000 to 201,600,000 tons of revenue our county could possibly be missing out on annually. Plus the taxes that the landfill and the local trash companies pay each year to the county for school district and roads. My concern is, especially because I have 4 children, all 4 of them went to the Warrensburg School District. I do have one graduating this year, and I have one that is finishing out this school district or this school year, and then still has 4 more years left in the district. Is there anything that the city council is doing to recoup that money to give back to the county so that can help the school district? Because as of right now, all of that money is going from our county to Pettis County on that. So that would be my concern. Again, I'm not here on behalf of Republic Service in any way. Republic Services has city contracts. I understand the deal. It is what it is. I don't really care about that. I personally just do not have an extra $400 a year for trash service. And I would just like to see our schools and our county benefit from stuff that is available in our county instead of an outside county benefiting from something that we can provide in our county. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thanks for coming. Miscellaneous matters from the mayor and or city council. Any items?
Nothing.
Okay. Mayoral appointments. Motion to approve mayoral recommendations. Appoint Jeffrey Rim as a member to the Energy and Sustainability Task Force to fill an unexpired term through August 2025. And Sadie Reeser as a director for the Parks and Recreation Board to fill an unexpired term through June of 2027.
Move to approve.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. City manager report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I handed out an item, it's kind of a late breaking item, and I'd like to walk you through. So you may already be aware that there were Senate bills passed in 2023 and 24 that created the authority for counties to enact a senior citizen homestead property tax credit. And so Johnson County's been talking about that for a while, I understand. In fact, I think in December 26th, they distributed a question and answer document that was attached to the memo that I gave you. So Friday of last week, we received correspondence from the county commission that they would be, it was their notice of intent to adopt that senior tax credit. And then it was an invitation for all taxing entities in the county to attend their meeting at 11 a.m. a week from today. So receiving it on Friday and having it not hit my radar until today, really, a little bit of short notice, and then that leaves you in somewhat of a short time frame between this meeting and next. So what I'd like to do is walk you through some of that information, and we can talk a little bit about how you'd like to proceed if you want to take any action and follow it. So I have taken the liberty of highlighting the documents that they sent to us. I'll get to that in a second. My major takeaways for you would be that they did distribute that Q&A on December 26th. It doesn't require the consent of the city of Warrensburg in any way. It's independent action that the county commission did take. Their communication seems pretty clear. They worded it as their notice of intent to adopt. So I think to me, that's an indication that they made a preliminary determination of what their intent is. Seems somewhat redundant, but no actions, not only is no consent required of you, no action is required of you, nor is staff necessarily recommending or requesting that you take action tonight. And you could elect to formally by motion or resolution take a position if you want, or whatever position that might be. And if you did that, then staff could communicate that to them at the meeting next Monday. The structure of the program is such that it identifies that incremental increase in property taxes that an eligible senior citizen would pay on a homestead property. So homestead is a defined term in that it's where they reside up to 10 acres, and an eligible citizen is 62 years of age or older. So it's limited to that homestead property for them. And the credit is an incremental increase from the year that they're first eligible for subsequent years. As a result of that, then it's not a revenue decrease per se for the city or any other taxing entity. For senior citizens that sign up for the credit, their taxes would stay flat. Now, there are some exceptions. They remodel that they put on an addition that would increase their taxes. It's also noteworthy that in the county's question and answer document, it is an annual renewal process. So if someone were to fail to renew in any given year and then pick back up, they'd have a new base increment based on when they got back in the program. They wouldn't go back to their original date and have that lapse forgiven. So that means for us that revenue, whether it's on a property basis or our overall tax revenue basis, should not decline. It just may stay flat for those eligible properties. And the ordinance does provide, and I assume this is statutory from the legislation, but for the purposes of calculating property tax levies, the total amount of those credits shall be considered as tax revenue for the taxing entity. And I think that's to count it towards rollback, even though we're not necessarily receiving that. I think that's a state legislative approach, not necessarily a county approach. And then I did reach out to the Missouri Municipal League to see if they had any information that they prepared as that bill was being worked, speculating what the financial impacts might be, and they didn't. I also reached out to our lobbyist and about here at the end of the day, he was able to go back on Senate Bill 190 and find I think it was a 143-page fiscal note, and in there it did have some language from Johnson County, and that's the second bullet on the back of the first page that I gave you. But they essentially said that they have approximately 50% of Johnson County population is 62 or older and could qualify for credit. They have no way of knowing whether they own, rent, live in a nursing home, what their situation is. So they don't know the impact directly, but assuming that all 15% were eligible, which I think is an overstatement, then the net impact of that to the county would be $79,563 to their general fund and $173,000 to the road and bridge fund. I have kind of simultaneously been trying to work out similar data. The US Census indicates that the city of Warrensburg's population that is 65 years and older, that's how they break it. They don't break it at 62, and is 11.9% of our population. And then I noted the fact that large segments of our property tax base are commercial, industrial, rental, things other than residential in the first place, let alone residential for senior citizens that qualify. And then, with a little bit more time, we might be able to reach out to Johnson County, see if they could do some type of calculation similar to what they did for themselves. Or I did try to reach out to a couple of counties, but it was end of the day and one of them had already closed, another got voicemail, and just find out what their experience said, because some of them adopted this essentially a year ago when they were in the midst of this, so they might have some anecdotal information about what they were experiencing. But I frankly would expect it's just we've had this many people sign up. I don't know that they would have much more data than that. Even if they did, it'd be hard to extrapolate that to our situation. So as it relates to our budget, the 2024-25 budget included essentially $1 million of property tax revenue in the general fund. The total general fund budget of $12.7 million. So property tax is about 8.96% of our general fund revenue. And then I did note there that a few reminders. One, the number of potentially eligible properties based on age and homestead status is unknown. The eligible properties would continue to pay their tax base. So if we were on budget, we'd continue to receive that $1 million of revenue. It would just be that incremental increase in future years. And then the net effect should not be a revenue decrease. It should just be a flattening of those eligible properties. So the mechanics of it are kind of spelled out in the county's communications to you in their letter and their order. And I think I kind of covered the significant parts of that, but they are indicating their desire to create the tax credit for fiscal year 25. They identify an eligible taxpayer 62 years of age or older, owning a homestead, and having a legal equitable interest, being liable for paying taxes on it. It spells out the way that the tax credit is calculated. It's essentially that incremental difference between what their taxes were the year they became eligible and whatever taxing year they're in, with that one caveat of if they fail to renew, the case starts over again. And it also addresses annexation in the event that someone annexes in, their tax liability shall be increased to reflect the applicable property tax within the city limits in our case. And then there are some exclusions from those credits for the blind pension fund, bonded indebtedness, and other taxes levied according to constitutional authorization. So I think I'll stop there, but the program's been in place statutorily, the authority's been in place for a while now. Some counties have acted sooner. My understanding is Johnson County's been talking about this for a while and reading their questions and answers. It seems like they've been getting feeling some pressure and getting some questions about what are they doing. In fact, their questions and answers talk about petition process. If citizens want to petition and put it on the ballot, how that would work. And it now appears that they've chosen to elect to take action independent of putting it on the ballot. But having said all that, you don't have to take any action at all. And I'm not sure how effective any action that you might take would be anyway, other than to take a side on an issue that might be controversial. But it certainly would be in your authority, and if you view it important enough, appropriate to we would discuss it here, or potentially have a special meeting to discuss it further. If there's researching like staff to do, all communicating the unified position to the county next month. So with that, I'll stop for questions.
Well, I don't think I have enough information to offer any opinion at this time.
Fair enough.
I mean, I have to be really upfront.
No, the short time frame kind of contributes to that. Other than asking the county for more time, I don't know that I have a solution.
Yes. Oh, and I understand.
Yeah. So we had a conversation this afternoon about this, and that's the same conclusion. We don't really know the impact of this. And we can go see Troy. Had a very cordial call with Troy about just about an hour ago about this, and going in to sit with them, with the commissioners, and just ask them just about give us a little more time so we at least understand what we're getting into. I don't think anybody's opposed to where this is going. It's just to make sure that we understand where this is going, so.
Yeah, I would agree. I am certainly not opposed to it, but I very much would like to have something more than kind of a half-hearted attempt to make an assumption about what it might be, because the data isn't there. You know, we've got, and thank you, Mike, for doing the work that you did to give us some idea of this is kind of something to hold on to there, but we don't really know. And the fact that they don't know, you know, they don't have those numbers of how many people that would affect. Yeah, so I would just say same.
I do feel like I should point out, I don't know that it's possible to know. I mean, we can have some more conversation.
It's a
It's
guesstimate.
just come up, the bill does indicate that the county does have the age of the property owner, so I don't know how much, I don't know whether they can cross tabulate that, how much work that might be, whether they're willing to do that. But even after more conversation, I think it's probably a pretty tall order to be able to really quantify this in advance.
Seems like White Pages has that information. When I look at somebody, they've got their age right there, but. So I
The
don't. have-
difficulty is finding out, do they live in their own housing, rental housing, a senior facility?
Right,
So we don't know that. We just have some percentages
And
and,
then tying it back to their assessed value and calculating
Yeah.
that value. I don't yet know how many other taxing entities there are in Johnson County, but I think they're all
Quite a
finding
few.
themselves in the same situation. And I think we have reason to believe that others have had kind of a similar reaction.
yeah, they have.
Like a little bit more time. If it helps at all, what I would tell you is, if you choose not to take any action, then that's a decision in that, we'll just let it run its course. If you want additional information, please direct staff accordingly.
I would recommend that we get a little more information, if it's possible tomorrow, to have a little conversation with the county commissioner and maybe commissioners, and give us just a little more time to give us an idea of not just, this is what's gonna happen. And they seem, I don't know how it'll go, but I think it'll be just fine, because they're not looking until later in the year, whether it would impact anybody, but it's the same question we all had. We don't know what this means to us, and we'd like to find out, get a good estimate anyway. That's okay.
Would you-
At best, you're gonna have is a wild guess.
Yeah.
Of who owns what, how much, and do you own 11 acres or 7 acres, and
How about 50 feet by 150 feet? You will qualify to it.
Well, 10 acres is the maximum.
Oh, the
Yeah.
maximum.
Be 10
Okay.
acres or less.
Okay.
Would you plan on just going to their meeting tomorrow then to talk to them?
Yeah, they're actually on KOKO.
Right.
I was telling Mike, I said, they're on Cocoa, and he thought I was talking about the drink or something. I forgot. It's local knowledge. It's KOKO radio in the morning, but they said it'd be back around 9:30 or so at their chambers up there, that we could just have it, maybe ask for a little more time or something, and
Well, clarification. You know, it's not getting rid of the property tax, it's just holding it at a level.
Correct.
For those that qualify.
right.
Right.
right, and the Census Bureau, I think Mike put in here, was 11.9% of people are over 65. And if you take that of Warrensburg, that's from the last census, about 2,000 people. And you can figure about probably 40% or less own their own homes. So I don't know that it was gonna affect a lot. It's not, like you said, it's not taking anything away. You're just,
There just wouldn't be future increases for those particular people that continue to apply for the
Right.
tax credit year after year, as
And-
long as they own.
And who knows if people are, the format, if people are willing to go through the hoops to get to it.
Mhm.
And the program starts at 62, the census data is at 65, so.
Right, so there's folks in there.
62 to 65. But
Yeah, it's-
your math is.
There's so many variables out there. I don't know that if you asked them for something specific, you'd see it in the next couple of years.
Well, if we can get some more information, that'd be great, but again, I'm not opposed to. Not opposed to this, just would like to have some information if we could.
We'll reach out, see what we can find out, and then if it comes down to it, you do have the ability, and there's a process, you can call a special meeting if you wanted to. And we'll see where the conversation takes us and go from there.
Thank you.
Yeah, 'cause there's like, if I remember right, there's like 31 taxing entities in the county. And I'm sure everybody. There's not that many. I thought with all the water districts and all. Anyway, there's a lot of them. Point being, I'm sure they all got hit with this same time and everybody's trying to back up and punt and see what's going on with it.
I do have a second topic for you. The mayor mentioned streetlights out in the downtown at our last meeting, and I'm still reaping the benefits of Kristen filling my schedule with appointments. And so the timing was such that we had a meeting on our calendar with a representative of Evergy last Friday. So I made a point of reaching out to him ahead of time saying, hey, streetlights are a concern. And coincidentally, they were working on streetlights as we were meeting with them on Friday. So, but we were able to have a conversation with them. They explained that the lights downtown are high pressure sodium currently, and that's kind of a dying technology transitioning to LED. I've been through it before, so it doesn't come as a surprise that LEDs cost more than high pressure sodium. Seems counterintuitive to the average person, but they were able to say, Public Service Commission's reviewed our rates, they've approved them. There's a rationale, we didn't get into the details of that rationale, but as a comparison, the monthly fee for a high pressure sodium light is $34 and monthly fee for an LED is $65. So almost a 90% increase. And they are transitioning away from high pressure sodium. So whether we elect or not, I think the future is high pressure sodium. And I'm sorry, LED. And so boiled all down by the math he provided, I think it's about $36,000 more a year for the lights that we have that are currently high pressure sodium in the downtown. So working through that a little bit, I do think they're committed to, well, with police department's assistance and public works, there were 21 lights identified as not functioning most recently. So I think they're committed to working on those, replacing them at an end cost for us.
Didn't we talk about
We
this
had
one time
this-
before and have
We talked
money?
about this,
Last year.
last year,
Mhm.
and we were gonna have them replace all of them to the LED. And that was going to be 40-some thousand, I thought.
Well, it ended up to be about 105,000 by the time we got into later, just deeper discussion. Danielle was into it and I think it was.
I've heard that 105,000
Yeah.
number. I haven't seen the math behind it, and my sense is that it came up, intentionally or unintentionally, deliberately or not. No decision was made to go to LED, but now, given how hard high pressure sodium is to come by, I don't know that
We don't
it's
have a
really an
choice.
option for us to stay with them long term. We're gonna transition just by necessity when we want to.
Well, I think we wanted them to be, when they put in the new lights
Right.
over here, and they're LED and much brighter. We
Right.
wanted our downtown to be brighter.
Right.
And so that's where the discussion started. And then the dollar figures, we backed off. I think we were in the middle of budgets then.
Right.
We just backed
He
off.
did make a point that as they replace them one by one, you're gonna see varying light levels, that the LED is a white light or the sodium is a warmer yellow light.
So they won't just come in and do it all at once. They'll do it as they go out.
Well, I need to have more conversation. Roy didn't realize they were going to do anything until Friday afternoon, and we were in the middle of a meeting, they started working on it. So, got an email this afternoon and I need to follow up.
Would the fixtures be changed in any way so that the light is directed down and out?
Yeah, my understanding is globe stays the same, the fixture that the bulb is mounted in may change, but aesthetically and.
It would look the same.
Isn't gonna change.
Thank you.
That's all I've got, but I know some staff have more, we certainly want to talk trash now.
Start the trash talking right now. City staff update, community development. Community development, activity report, February 2025.
We had,
Did you want to do admin services
Oh, I'm
ten
sorry.
point one?
Yeah, I was looking through here, realize that, yes. City staff update, administrative services department.
That's me.
That's you
The
now.
only update I have tonight is that we are in the middle of audit week, so the auditors are here working with our staff. Putting together their findings, so just a big shout out to our finance team who's working really hard on that.
And we're using the same audit firm as we have been. We didn't change, right?
We intend to do a
Okay.
fresh queue for this.
That it? Thank you. 10.2, city staff update, city clerk.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I wanted to bring to your attention the local records grant program application has been filed. We won't hear from them until mid-May, whether or not we receive the award. Very positive that we will. But during this whole process, we ran across a 1913 sewer infrastructure map. And I followed up with the Secretary of State's office. They agreed to take the map to Jefferson City to their conservation lab. They're going to unroll the fragile map and see if there's any work that needs to be performed on it. If there is, then they will roll it back up again, send it back to us, and we will be in their queue. Because apparently they only have 2 conservators per state, so, or at least in our state. So, but if the map turns out to be in okay shape, they will scan it for us and then return the map, and then we will have a digital copy of that map.
Great.
So that's all free of charge. That's part of the service they give. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, I wanted to give a shout out also to Jeannie McMurphy, our support services specialist at the front lobby. She helps me every year with the supplements that come in for the city code, the physical supplements. Our online code is automatically updated, but we still update about 12 books in the city. So she helps with that, and that's all been done. We received those, and within, my goodness, probably 2 weeks, she had them finished for us. So I just wanted to make sure that she got a shout out. And then I will be leaving after this meeting, heading down to a city clerk conference. I'll be out Tuesday and Wednesday and half day Thursday, and then I'll be back. I will be working, but I may not be able to respond right away. So that's all I have. If you have any questions for me. No. Okay.
Have a good conference.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 10.3, city staff update, community development. Community development activity report, February 2025.
Before I start on trash, I would know one other milestone passed on March 1st for our department, and that is we moved into the 2024 building codes. So you passed those back in January, but they had an effective date of March 1, and so we have started with them as well. As far as trash goes, we are in our 2nd week of service. So we started, cart delivery did start minimally on February 18th. In earnest, it started more towards the end of the next week. and was not completed until last week on Thursday evening. That was our initial cart delivery. They continue to respond to calls of skipped houses or carts that were not delivered or were delivered incorrectly. Those calls come into both our area, our city hall, as well as to Constable. And we track those, and we're up over 300 and little over 360 calls as of the end of today. Those, many of those were called in prior to February 28th, which was the day we originally said cart delivery would be completed. So if we look at calls that were called in, and that address is first service day, it is, and this number will change because we're still getting calls like today. We got calls about last week, not even just Friday, but even other days earlier in the week last week. So this number will change, but of those calls, of those over 360 calls taken between both areas, it's closer to about 43 homes that did not receive a cart prior to their day of service. So that's about 1%. Others, the majority of everybody else got the cart the day before, the night before, because of the change and issues there were in the supply of the carts and the delivery of the carts and the approach to delivering them. So then we look at how we did in terms of picking up trash the first week. And those calls, particularly Friday, calls are obviously still coming in today. And so I think this number will change too, but I'm not sure how much. It looks like we had closer to about 71 reported missed trash pickups, also around 1%. Two main reasons for those were hardship. A lot of them were hardship ones, and they didn't have their hardship sticker yet. And so the driver didn't know to go up to the house and bring that cart down to empty it. And then the other one, we had a lot on Friday that were alley pickups. All of our alleys, no matter what the map says you are, what route you are in a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday. If you're an alley pickup, you're a Friday pickup. And so they ran all our alleys on Friday, and we had several missed homes there, and it looked like it was one or two specific alleys where they just missed the whole block. So that accounted for a good chunk of those reported missed pickups. Out of the first week of service, I did get the number on recycling. We had 23,600 pounds of recycled materials collected and taken to the transfer or to the MRF in Harrisonville, and I have those tickets. And let's see what else. Oh, we have about this number changes daily, though it is definitely slowing down. We have 80 approved hardship services with about 9 or 10 pending. Those were coming in at a very fast clip early last week and the week before. They're still coming in, but at a much slower rate. So we maybe are most people of the word out there on that. I'm not sure yet. And then we have 28 properties that have requested a vacation hold. And the main reasons for those are either a vacant home or a home that's listed for sale. And no one is there at the moment. And then I personally would really like to thank a few people, not a few, a lot. When we realized cart delivery was not going to go as planned, many staff people stepped up to handle that. We had staff in community development, Patty in public works, all stepped up to man phones in addition to their regular work duties. We also had, it was Sandy and Tiffany in public work and community developments. And then you also had Jeff, Chris, Jeannie, in the upstairs area. And they weren't manning the solid waste line, but they were manning the sewer line and the 9131 line. And if you couldn't get through on the solid waste line, you were calling the sewer line, or you were calling 913 line. So all of them, and Carrie, up there as well, did a lot of extra work to handle those phone calls. When we went into it, we said we wanted to make sure the phones were answered and people could get to a human and could get someone local who could answer their questions if they wanted an answer. And so it was very important to all of them and myself that we answer those phones or return voicemails in a very timely manner, and those individuals made that happen. And then Jessica handled all of our Facebook posting, which was key to, and Jody pitched in this one day. That was very, very, very helpful in getting the word out, and I think also significantly helped our volume of phone calls, and so that was very grateful for that help. And then I would also like to thank our new city manager who jumped in to do a ton of Excel work on our address list and our cart delivery. And I really don't think, I know we wouldn't be here today with the outcomes we have without his help, without his knowledge, without work he put into it. So I personally very much appreciated that support. I could not have done that on my own. So very grateful for that.
We're just trying to keep up with you.
I couldn't have done it on my own. I really couldn't have. So I know you have questions. I'd be happy to answer questions. And Cole and Melissa, it's their job, yes, but they're doing a lot of extra phone calls, a lot of the day-to-day decisions that are being made about individual specific properties, those continue today. I described a few of them in the report. They continue along those lines, but those two are handling those and making bringing to my attention when needed. So they're making a lot of very difficult phone calls. So some people are getting news they don't want, and some are getting news they do want, but those are tough phone calls, and they're handling all of those.
Questions?
Barb's not gonna thank herself. But
I'm very pleased with the
Yes.
way that it turned out in light of the fact that the containers might not have arrived. It could have been a catastrophe, but with them arriving just in time, that's a nice manufacturing term, it worked out fine.
Well, the weather was very cooperative too.
Yes, I would also thank the weather.
Yeah, that's true.
Or blame the weather as it.
Well, the first week that they were delivering, they were out there in the blizzard.
Yeah, that's when we got ours there was still like a lot of snow on the ground. It's very cold.
And we got ours about 6:30 the night before pickup,
Hmm.
which it was still light outside, so we didn't have any trouble getting our trash up there and our recyclables.
I appreciate everyone's
Just
work.
a lot of appreciation, and
Yeah.
we were the ones who ultimately made the decision, right? You all did all the work to give us all the information, but that's on us, and yet I know that staff have to bear a lot of the upset from folks, and everyone has our emails and they can contact us as well. But I just appreciate, because I've worked in customer service a lot. I think probably all of us have up here, and we know what that's like. And so thank you really to everyone who took that on. And I think Mike made, if I'm not mistaken, Mike made a little come to Jesus call with the card provider because they were not initially going to be providing us with all of the cards that we needed. And, so that's out of Constable's hands. That was the manufacturer that needed to be dealt with. So thank you for doing that.
So Barbara, thank you so much. It's been a 3-year process to get here. For all the extra work. I know this past weekend was crazy. The hours you all put in, all of you in the city, over the last few weeks especially, but I know you didn't have any weekends. So I hope you get a weekend coming up real quick. And we appreciate all the work you did for public surveys and the public comments we had, the contract negotiation, writing the contracts, all this sort of stuff over the last 3 years. So I think I agree with everybody. Just that is behind us now. And you couldn't have had a more challenging week with, again, between deliveries of parts. It wasn't in our responsibility or fault, but you all dealt with and problem solved and got this all figured out between the carts and then the delivery company that was supposed to get these out and everything. I think it's phenomenal. So how many carts roughly do we have out now? Did we put out a little over?
You have over 10,000 carts out there.
Yeah.
We will still have some to pick up that people have requested to pick up. Been focusing more on the delivery than the picking up at this point. And we're still getting some of the decisions that were made in that first week into the address list. And so, I hesitate to say exactly how many service addresses we're at, or where we'll end up, but we'll continue to be between about 5,100 and 5,200. So you have over 10,000 cards.
Great job, everybody.
Yeah.
So,
And Mayor and Council, if I could, I
Sure.
think I shared with some of you individually, but when I interviewed, it was evident that Barb's ownership of this project and it was underscored through this whole thing. She knew it backwards and forward. She knew her step. I lost count of how many iterations we were on in terms of adapting, but it's just one thing after another, problem, solution. She led the charge.
you know how much you like.
Yeah.
We're not gonna make you stand up.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no.
Item 10.4, city staff update, fire department February activity report.
Good evening. The report for February is in your packet. Just a couple things to note. We're still continuing to see increase in our call volume month to month over last year. As I know you all do, after you get this one, you compare it to the previous months over and over again, but you'll note that there's a 16-second increase in our response time. So I had Deputy Chief Oxley dig into that because I was a few seconds here or there every month, but that was pretty significant. Most of those can be traced back to the weather that we had and those delays. And then if you also remember, Council Member Kushner asked about overlapping calls and we were pretty level. Well, that jumped up significantly last month. So
I won't say it again.
and so that contributed to those response times. Also, we had one that was almost 12 minutes to get a unit to the call volume that we had at the time and get across that. So those are where those numbers are that we've been watching the last few years. But
Was that one that took so long during the weather, when the weather was so bad?
I don't believe that one was weather. We just had 2 units out and a third call came in and the unit that was available was on the wrong side of town to get there. So it took a while.
Okay.
Those don't happen very often.
Yeah. Can you please remind me? I know you've said this before and I can't remember. Can you say what a good intent call is?
It's a wide range of incidents. It can be odor, maybe something that they thought was smoke, just like they thought there was an emergency or just some type of service that kind of falls in that catch-all category. So,
And is false alarm literally like an alarm that has gone off in a house, or is there another broader definition of that?
Yeah, again, it's just, it's the broad category for a lot. So whether it's a smoke alarm in a residence, we see the most experience in commercial occupancies when the fire alarm system activates. So, it can be fire alarms, sprinkler system activations, kind of the whole gamut there. Just anytime an alarm comes in and we get there and there's no fire. And then we break those down into a fault in the system or, some other, false trigger.
Okay, thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Item 10.5, city staff update, Parks and Recreation Department. Hello, Chris.
Yes, hello, good evening, Mayor, members of the council. First of all, I want to welcome Sadie Reese. I'm very excited as I was reading her application for the board. Really appreciate her community involvement, and taking time to volunteer for this, and thank you for approval. And also, we have 9 on our board. I'm very pleased to say we have a full board at this time, so that is exciting for us. Lions Club held a convention this last weekend at the community center. They had over 100 that attended that, and most of these stayed in our hotels, Marcy, over the weekend. And so that's very nice. They delivered blankets to Warrensburg nursing homes, screened individuals and at the I Mission, and just did a lot of neat things in the community, collected funds, and it was great to host this event at our community center. I'm working on several other projects, capital projects that are ongoing, as I've reported before. One of which started today, which is the divider fence that's going into pickleball. So that's going to be nice to have that done probably by the end of this weekend. And then they will go next to Cave Hollow after that for the fencing and several other projects going on. That's all I have this time. Unless you have any questions.
Nope.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you. Item 10.6, city staff update, police department.
The mayor council, don't have a lot. We have our promotion process for the sergeant going on. It's gonna be on the 18th of this month. We'll get through that day, and then we have one in our background phase. That's in the police academy now. We're completing that, and then we have 2 that have completed and gotten conditional offers, but they won't start until July. We have 2 more that are interested in interviewing. We're gonna have that process here in the next week or 2. And that's where we're at on our staffing. So everything's been pretty normal through the police department on day to day as of today. Any questions?
Any question?
You haven't lost any more and you're working on getting more.
We haven't lost any for a while. So we're working on getting full.
Full staff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Item 10.7, Public Works Department. Hello, Phil.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Thank you, Kim, for not blaming McGuire. So lots of stuff's going on now. The weather's hopefully turned for the better. We've had street departments out working on Gay Street by Burkhardt. There's some base failure that they're digging up, putting, actual, not just potholing, but patching, getting that stuff done. McGuire's, lots of stuff's moving on McGuire's. The utilities are full steam ahead, getting things replaced. It's still gonna be a little bit, because once the utilities get done, we're going into driveway construction, road construction, so it's still gonna be a while. Please be patient. Plants out there, the plant expansion, the SCADA project, the plant expansion, the state revolving fund. We received word that it's probably gonna be March 24th that we get some paperwork, maybe, as long as things go well, but still probably be the 1st of April. We're shooting for that time frame for that stuff to get approved and done. The request for quotes or bids have gone out. They're getting them back. It'll be, it'll still be a week or 2 before all that gets done. But it's moving, it's going in the right direction. Collections departments cleaning out lines and doing all their normal activity. But for the most part, everything's moving ahead as we promised or hoped.
For one clarification, when we say utilities are full steam ahead, Evergy's an entity in and of themselves. That's true. I forget that one. We're working.
The ones out there are moving full speed ahead.
Yeah.
Another one,
That's
we're working. on.
Not so much.
He is working on his lot, so. Any questions?
Phil, I just want to say Public Works did fantastic with the winter weather this year.
Yep.
Amazing. I don't think we had really any problems with it, and they did a great work. And I know it always happens in the middle of the night that they're going out. So,
Seems to, yes.
yeah, it seems to, but great work.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
What's this next one? Item 10.8, city staff update, Warrensburg Convention Visitors Bureau. Hello, Marcy. I have to.
Last month, but I did make notes, so I'll stay and I won't touch the microphone. All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just like to highlight a few things that we've been up to lately. I've been out of the office a little bit. 2 weeks ago, I went to Capitol Days. The Missouri Association of Convention and Visitors Bureau hosts Capitol Days. It's an opportunity for us to go to Jeff City, talk about the importance of tourism in Missouri, but also our community. We met with 5 different legislators, not just from our area, but surrounding areas as well. We've met with the Lieutenant Governor, and we also met with our Missouri Secretary of State. So it's a great opportunity to build those relationships. Speaking of relationships, last week I was at the Missouri Travel Alliance Sports Travel Exchange. It's the first time we've attended this event for Warrensburg. It's an opportunity for smaller DMOs, which is designated marketing organizations, to get to those events to promote your areas. I was able to take information from the awesome facilities at the Warrensburg School District, UCN, Warrensburg Park and Rec, and share that with these event planners that are looking to host events in Missouri in 26. Now, all of them, are they a great fit? Absolutely not. I do not have a river. As much as I would like to say, the Lions Lake's got some amazing fishing, I just can't make it a catfishing river. But it was a great opportunity for us to build those relationships and say, hey, here we are, this is what we have, let's work together. And we're going to continue working on building those relationships and promoting the facilities that we have. We have 3 great organizations with facilities, and they're willing to work with us, and we're going to make sure that everyone that we possibly can gets that information. As Chris mentioned earlier, the Lions Club did hold their district meeting at the community center last weekend. We provided them community bags. So when they were able to get to the hotel Friday night, they had a welcome bag waiting for them. I hope you've seen, it's spring break, but I hope you've seen a ton of buses in the community. And that is because of the Children's Literature Festival being held on UCM's campus. I love that festival. It was a festival I attended as a kiddo, and it was the first opportunity I had to be on a college campus. And I know that's the case for a lot of those kids getting off the bus. We have 20+ authors, and we did put informational bags in the hotel waiting for them when they arrive for registration. I'm very grateful to the Missouri Division of Tourism for granting me the educational scholarship to be able to attend the Southeast Tourism Marketing College in Macon, Georgia. This is the 2nd year I will be attending. It's a 3-year commitment. The grant covers lodging and registration. Travel to and from is on my own, but what we do is there's a lot of us Missouri individuals that go, tourism directors, we all carpool. And so we work together to make sure our dollars are being effective. Do y'all have any questions for me? I promise, I didn't even look.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Marcy.
When I just thought I'd tell Mike and Kristen that the Children's Literature Festival, I think this is the 55th year that they've been holding it.
Well, as lucky to have it, my nephew was at it, I went and had lunch with him.
Oh, okay.
It's a very cool thing.
Yeah.
All right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.